listeners, that's the way it is. That was the soundtrack of Lucky Dube. That's the way it is in the studio of We Are Born Free Empowerment Radio. Welcome you all back to our usual weekend programs, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from the hour of 1 to 4 p.m. First of all, today we are so excited in the studio because we have new different faces in the studio with amazing information to reveal to you, the lovely listeners who are tuning on the frequency of 88.4 megahertz in Berlin and 90.7 in Potsdam, and of course our lovely listeners who are there viewing live and direct on Facebook. First of all, I would start with this short introduction from my side. As a Gambian diaspora mentor for MMN Media, Migrant Media Network, and a radio presenter, I'm honored and privileged to have Susanne Bellinghausen, MMN Project Manager, Germany, and Benedictus Agbelom, MMN Community Manager, Ghanaian Diaspora, Germany. The two MMN project managers and community managers will be talking about their roles in the project MMN, the transformations that have been so far made in Ghana and Gambia, challenges for 2022, and the success of 2021. These will be all coming to you live and direct from We Are Born Free Empowerment Radio on the frequency of 88.4 megahertz in Berlin and 90.7 megahertz in Potsdam, and live and direct streaming to you on MMN Facebook page and also at We Are Born Free Humanity Matters. In case you don't have access to tune on frequency or on internet, you can just go on your Facebook page and hear live and direct from us from the hour of 2. I mean, unfortunately, we have 30 minutes delay, so this is going to take us till 3:30 European time at our studio here at Valdemar Strasse 46 Kreuzberg in the heart of Berlin. With me, your presenter, Yahya Moro Yafa, assisted by my colleague Bino on my right side on the technique. I'm so happy to have two of you in the studio. Susanne, unfortunately, we were meant to have Nyima, who is a project manager of Gambia, but unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond her control, she's unable to be here. But nonetheless, Susanne is here in the studio representing her. First of all, before going to the questions, I would just like to summarize what is MMN Project. Migrant Media Network provides young Africans with reliable information and training on migration issues and social media to make informed decisions and be aware of safer migration options to Europe. MMN promotes youth entrepreneurship at home as a way to build economic and social resilience, encouraging youth to create their own opportunities and work within their communities. Members of the Ghanaian and the Gambian diaspora in Berlin are trained and involved in the development of online and offline materials to conduct workshops for young girls and boys in rural regions of Ghana and the Gambia around questions of migration, human smuggling, and the ethical use of social media and youth entrepreneurship, aiming to create a sustainable and growing network of trainers in rural areas. Community influencers are engaged to amplify the training, and offline materials are distributed to community leaders in strategic points such as schools and churches. The MMN project was created and initiated by Thomas Kalunge in 2019. The project was successfully implemented by ROG Agency for Open Culture and Critical Transformation in Ghana and Germany in 2019, 2020. In 2021, the project was extended to the Gambia. I mean, just to tell you a bit about my side, I am a Gambian diaspora mentor who was trained, who was lucky to be part of this 3 days workshop that was held in Berlin here in Germany together with other diaspora mentors, and then I had the privilege and honor to be sent to my community, and in this show, I mean, we're going to talk more about it. I'm going to summarize some of the impressions and expressions that I had during my trip to the Gambia. But before going further, let's go to my guest in the studio facing me. First of all, we'll start with Susanne. The question is, can you tell us or explain your individual or collective role in the MMN project? Thank you. Welcome to We Are Born Free. Susanne.
Yes, hello. Very, very happy to be here. I wish Nima could be here instead of me, but I'm trying to do my best to fill in the information. So my role in the MMN project is basically that project management. So I deal a lot with trying to coordinate everything. As you already mentioned, we have a lot of different parts of the project, which means we do work here, workshops and diaspora workshops. We try to have diaspora meetups focusing on women. But we also, of course, have the teams in Ghana and Gambia that run frequent Stammtische or workshops, and all that needs to be coordinated. So basically, I'm doing that, and I'm doing that, and also we have a website, we have podcasts, we have radio shows in Ghana and Gambia. So all this is basically what I'm trying to have the overview of, but. I have a lot of help, so it's really to the teams in Ghana and Gambia, and also here Nima and Benedictus who are doing the work.
Thank you so much, Susanne, for that introduction. I mean, to Benedict, you are the community manager, Ghanaian Diaspora Germany. What is your role in this project?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your parishes. So, as Susie has already mentioned, it is more or less like a team effort where we sort of are able to disseminate information. But more importantly, for my role here in the diaspora is focusing on the diaspora community, bringing them together, networking them, mobilizing the youth here. In the end, trying to sort of make their mentality or re-image how they perceive social media, how they perceive migration on social media, and how they also interact back home. And my role specifically has been more or less also into talking with the local coordinators in individual countries, for example Ghana specifically, making sure that all our projects and our activities are run scheduled on time, and also collecting feedback, doing documentation, as well as doing stakeholder management, making sure that we our messages on across board, and we have our audience, our target audience, being in direct contact with.
Thank you so much, Benedict. To the second question, I mean, when we talk about migration, especially in Germany, it's more often said as sub-Saharan African migration from sub-Saharan Africa. It's not only limited to Gambia, Ghana, or the countries.
Yes.
But in this project, I've been seeing that it's only so far limited to only Gambia and Ghana. Why is it only Gambia and Ghana your target, not other countries, sub-Saharan African countries, who are also, of course, concerned on this migration issue? Susanna.
Yeah, we wanted to do a lot more countries at the beginning. I mean, the idea basically is we theoretically do it, all over the place. Also, probably not only Africa, but it's basically the funding that predicted that. So they chose Ghana as a country. Don't ask me why, if it's specifically because they didn't have a project there, or it might be something that simple. But we went along with it and said, yeah, that's great, let's do it. And then the next year we thought, we'd like to expand, and we made another 5 country suggestions, and they only picked Gambia.
So if you say they picked Ghana, who are they?
The Foreign Office, sorry. So the project is funded by the German Foreign Office, by the Communication Department, which is also significant because this is all about access to information and communication. That's basically what the project is about. Even though, as you said in your intro, we have, we try to also show alternatives at home. Basically what we do is we can give information on this, but we actually don't run workshops on things like that.
I mean, until now, so far, interestingly, do you know why it's still Ghana, Gambia, maybe? I mean, do you have any clue why Ghana, Gambia?
I don't know. I think Gambia for sure seems to be, and now that I'm, into also, I got to know Gambia quite a bit more than I, did before. It's a hot issue. I mean, migration definitely is a big issue, especially backdoor migration. Of course, I mean that's I think what we need to really think. It is about trying to keep people from migrating irregularly, but migrating regularly, because it's just devastating to see so many people die. And I think that is a big issue in the Gambia. And it's also, I think, one thing that's probably not unimportant is it's both not countries that people leave because of conflict, right? As it's not, and so I think that's
That
probably,
means economic reasons, right?
yeah, and other
Yeah,
social, yeah.
Benedict, do you have something to say?
Well, based on my personal research and also together with the team, we find out that most Ghanaians, aside those who migrate here for educational purposes, also have this sort of trend where they overstay their tourist visa or family reunion visa, and so they become irregular in the system. And so the main objective of this project as well, to engage these sort of Ghanaian diaspora community members to enhance them in the information process, so they are informed and they are able to make important decisions based on the information they get from us. I think this is also one of the reasons why we chose Ghana, and also because it was a pilot project, it was successful, and we were able to move to the Gambia after the first phase was successful.
I mean, we have a lot of people asking us, can't you do that in my home country?
That would be much interesting.
Yes, and so people write to us also at the conference in Hamburg, the Migration and Media Conference, and it seems, and also I think Nima has mentioned this earlier when we talked, so Nigeria seems to be, is our next target country if we would have one. I mean, this year we can't do it because of the election, the funding is not even secured up for next year, but so Nigeria would definitely be, and we already have contacts there, and there it seems to be a big trend also to migrate irregularly for young people. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So at the end of the intro of MMN project, it is stated that the project was successfully implemented by ROG, Agency for Open Culture and Critical Transformation, in Ghana and Germany in 2019-2020. I mean, I would just like you to broadly define and explain to the listeners about this ROG agency. What does this mean?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's called Rogue Agency, but it's difficult to read, I guess. Yeah, so we're a very small non-profit organization that was founded in 2013. And it was sort of kicked off by the idea that, South Sudan was a new country, and we thought, we deal a lot with open source, and we thought, well, this is the opportunity to do something very different, because, whenever is there a new country that we, that people can, have an impact on. And so that's how it started. We basically, South Sudan was a difficult case, and we have a project there called Defy Hate Now. It's against hate speech, online hate speech, which of course also relates a little bit to the, migration and media issue. Then there was a conflict in South Sudan, so it's that's so what we try to do, I think, to make it short, is in general in our projects to give people access to information, to give them knowledge. And to empower them to, do what they think is important to do in their own country. So that's why we have a project called ASNA, Access to Skills and Knowledge, which is, doing the same thing, setting up hubs and helping young people to empower themselves. I think that's the main aim.
So that means MMN project was initiated from this ROG agency. Okay. So Benji, do you have something to add on that?
No.
Okay. So then we go to the second question. The third question. It's as long as the project, or as far as the project MMN is initiated here in Berlin, it's founded here in Berlin. I believe that you must be having some partner projects that you work with, as long as you work with projects in Gambia and Ghana. Maybe you would like to say some of the partner projects that you work with in Gambia and Ghana that are crucial to this project.
Well, in the beginning of the project, we tried to do a stakeholder management, get the appropriate stakeholders involved, and what we were able to do in the first round was to get UNET, which is an organization in Ghana which helps youth across the region and also provide them with basic information and sources to empower themselves. So UNET is one of the organizations we work with in Ghana, which are our primary stakeholders, as well as the IOM. We are in talks with them in Ghana as well, and also in the Gambia. Most importantly for Ghana, we are also working with the Immigration Service, which is the Ghana Immigration Service, because they are also they play high role in dissemination information in regards to migration and also immigration problems and also issues in the country. But aside that, we are looking forward to working with Sparkase Shiftung, and I think Susie would talk a little bit more on that, both in Ghana and in Gambia. And this is also very particular for us because it comes in as the positive alternative. What we are trying to say is that do not migrate without having information, but also looking back home, what you have back home, the positive alternatives back home, the opportunities back home. And so they provide some sort of training on entrepreneurship, where they also use a game as well, and through this you're able to develop your idea. They help you nurture your idea, and then also if it's very viable, they provide you with some source of funding, or they link you to some funds where you can acquire some funds from these sources, and then you can initiate a project.
So you also work with IMO, International Organization for Migration?
Yes.
Directly or indirectly?
Directly, not really, but indirectly, yes, we do, because they have offices where we have our local coordinators, and in some cases they do run some kind of activities with them, outreaches and also meetups.
What do you think of working with them directly?
Yes, we've actually had a stakeholder meeting which was held in April in Accra, and we brought together GIZ, we brought together IOM, and we also brought together some DAAD, that's for the education part. And so these stakeholders, we are in talks with them because of COVID and all that, but hopefully by the end of the year we'll be able to finalize all our MOUs with them, and then we will be actively on the ground working with them, because they play a very important role.
Yeah,
I have a comment to that. So I think yes, it's important to have partners, and we always, of course, have partners in the countries that we work, because of course they know much better, what's happening on the ground. But I think the project started much more, not looking at big organizations like IOM, and but it's looked really more at who are the people who need the information, and who are the people who don't have access to information, because that's what it's really about. So it was really more, and it started off actually with Benedictus and those diaspora mentors to go back to Ghana and go to the countryside where people have no access to, they have maybe no internet access. That's also why we have this printed material. So it was really much more going to the villages, sitting under a tree, talking about, also exchanging experience. I mean, you've done that now as well. Your own experiences firsthand, so people know, what's the reality of migrating, what's the reality, for example, in Germany. So it wasn't really so much about these, big organizations. Of course, the project has developed, and so we
local level for the community.
Yes, I mean it's still super important. I mean we do that every month. We have our local coordinators who go to different communities to talk to people, and I think that's really well received, and it's super important. Because IOM, for example, I mean they're doing a great job, but they're a huge organization, and we're a tiny organization. We have to be also
on this international level.
Yes, they're on a very different level.
Right.
I mean, they've contacted us because they like our game and they would like to use it, and they're more than welcome to do that, because as many people play the game, the more people, the better. Because we want people to get informed. But we also have to be careful that they don't swallow us.
Exactly, we have to be careful with them.
Yeah, because they do what we do, but of course a lot more other things, and we do some things they don't do. I mean, we provide a lot of offline information through the USSD system, through the downloadable app and things like that. So, I think we also have our very uniqueness, and we should keep that and try to reach people off grid.
Yeah, thank you so much. That are our lovely guests in the studio. Susanne, the project manager MMN in Berlin, and Benedictus community diaspora community manager Ghana, also living here in Berlin. Talking to us about the whole project, I mean the insights and outside inputs, success, of course, and the failures of the project. I mean challenges and difficulties will come through. And then going to the next question, I mean, which would be more important from my side as a mentor. In August, you conducted a 3-day workshop here in Berlin, mentorship workshop with Gambians and Ghanaian diasporas here. And then I would just like to know, before going further from my experience as well, how were you able to connect all those diverse participants together? And what did you achieve, and what were some of the obstacles you have encountered? Because I was there 3 days, it was really, really, diverse, with a lot of entrepreneurs, journalists, activists, women, and even children were there, but they participated. So I mean, I would just like to know, how were you managed to contact and connect all these people together for 3 good days? And then what were some of the achievements and obstacles you have encountered?
Yes, well, as we already run our programs, we do a lot of events, we do workshops, webinars, we do outreaches and all. So this, we're able to network all these participants, recruit them from our network, the local community, the diaspora community, partnered organizations who sent word out to potential participants. And what we sought to do was to go through each and every contact list that we had and be able to reach out to them personally on that personal level, and also from the organizational level. For example, some of the organizations we sort of partnered with them here in Germany, we sent out invitation letters to them. We also sent out invitation letters to family, as well as people that are in the diaspora that we know personally, who have sort of migration experience and background, to be able to take part in this workshop. Most importantly, it was for us to create like a behavioral change in the mindsets of the potential the diaspora here, living here, on storytelling, on how to tell the lifestyle they live here on social media, not to influence people back home or potential migrants or African youth. Upon seeing this, they realize, okay, maybe Germany is as easy as they say, or it's as rosy as they say, so we want to come. No. The TOT training was supposed, well, it was to give some form of information on migration, right? Social media. Also, we had our migration game, which we wanted to review, and we also, with the field guide, the MMN field guide kits, we also wanted to review some content in it. So I think through the TOT training, we're able to come up with some of the feedback that you guys gave us. I think you also played a game. You played a game. You felt some kind of attachment to the game. Some sort of you were immersed in the game. So all these things were some objectives that we wanted to achieve within this TOT workshop. Most importantly, also creating the diaspora network of trainers, where based on the training you have had, you'll be able to disseminate the information to other diaspora that you know who live here, and also share with your community. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think Benedictus summed it up really well. Maybe from my side, as you know, the German here, I must say, and I think that's why this project is so successful. Of course, why did we have this great group of people together? Is because we have Benedictus and Nima, who are in the community, who know the important people, the activists in the diaspora. Without them, it would not have been possible, right? So that's really, and I think that's in general what this project is about. I mean, it is really to have the right people give the right information, and so I mean, I sort of have the feeling I can give the platform, but really, the how do you say that? The filling comes from a much more original point.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, I would just like to come in this part to share my little experience that I had from the TOT workshop. and also to be sent to Gambia to face my community and to my people, to speak to them directly and to address them about irregular migration. I mean, I think for my side that was really, really a good opportunity. First of all, I would like to thank MMN for providing this opportunity to me to go back. I mean, my colleague is here, Bido. I've been working with him, I mean, for many years, and that was really my aim, you know. That was my goal, you know. I was really talking about this many years ago. I said I would like to find an organization that is talking and addressing this irregular migration to my community. And at the end of the day, I would like to be person who would go to face them and to talk to them directly. I mean, the past years I couldn't have the opportunity. I mean, because I couldn't have the part organization that is going to support me of, you know, carrying that duty. But, you know, thank God by meeting MMN, I had the opportunity. I mean, even though I was also a refugee, I also came through the journey, you know, almost a year, encountered all sorts of difficulties. Everything that we talk about this journey, I encountered it on my journey, through Libya, through Mediterranean Sea, through in Italy also, the asylum camps, and also here in Germany, asylum camps, the situations and so on. I went through everything. Thank God now I achieved, but yeah, it was a very big challenge for me. And the time, I mean, when Nima wrote to me that, okay, I am working on this organization, we are looking for activists or Gambians who are active, people like you, we would like to invite and come and share your experience with us, and at the end of the day we are going to evaluate to see who would be qualified to be sent to Gambia to face the community and the people to address this regular migration. I mean, I really welcomed it with really, you know, I mean, with a pleasure, say that, okay, this was what I was, you know, looking for many years ago, to find people who are working directly on this. Most of the time people do just form organizations and address people here. But I think we should address people back home. We have been addressing white people here. We have been addressing Germans. We have been addressing everyone. But I think everyone knows, because everyone has access to internet, could go in and out and find what is there. But those back home, those I met, you know, to be honest with you, they had most of them had no access to what was going on or what is going on in the journey. I mean, I had the opportunity to be trained, and then that training and also has enhanced in my knowledge to find some equipment, some materials, some guided materials that I could use to face my community. Among them was the game also, and the cards, and many other materials that were used in the workshop that I had to use with the community. When I was in Gambia, I conducted 3 workshops, and the first workshop was with the youth, and I was sent to my region, which is Basse. And if you talk about Gambia, migration, Basse is the most affected, you know, region in the Gambia. I mean, so many people died, so many people lose their life from Basse in my region, from family members, from friends, from loved ones, from neighbors, from everywhere. So when I heard about it, I was so happy that, okay, I have to go to Basse and talk to my people directly. I mean, before going, I mean, that was also challenging. Before going, people were asking, okay, I think migration in Gambia, if you talk about regular migration, people would not listen to you. I say people must listen to me. Maybe those who are addressing are different, because I come from the community. I encountered, when I go to them, I tell them, there will be no denial. They would accept everything what I tell them. Either they would take it and believe in it, live with it, or they would hear it and they just say, okay, even though I just take the risk, I'll go. I met the youth, I spoke with them, and they said very, very interesting, very tremendous, you know, feedbacks and recommendations that they have given. And they all have accepted what I have narrated to them, and they all have, you know, factual fact for them.
Yeah, but that's what it's about, right? You can talk about your experience.
Yeah.
They have the fact, and then they make their decision.
Exactly.
But they make their decision. If they do it anyways, then they know what to expect.
What
you
I
know,
expect, exactly. So from the youths, what I talked to them, what I shared with them, everyone accepted. At the end of the day, the most feedback that I got from them was that, okay, we are very grateful to have you, because this is the first time to see a diaspora, I mean someone from the community who went through this, came back to us and addressing irregular migration to us. It was me. It was me. Those who are going are just semesters, just go semester from Europe and then bounce it and come back home. But not to address them, not to advocate them, not to tell them the reality. But I leave no stone unmountain. I explain everything to them from my, challenges, difficulties, the wood, and the experiences and difficulties from others. So that was really welcomed by the youths, and I also met the mommies, the sisters, women in the community. I mean, they also really, it was really hard time to talk to the moms and the women. Most of them were really tearful, shedding tears, explaining their experiences of their sons and daughters who perished in the journey, who have been kidnapped, who have been tortured, who have been eliminated, in the community, psychologically crazy. And they all said no to factory, no to irregular migration. And I also taught workshop was with the elders, with the religious leaders, with the Alikalos community leaders, the same thing. Many of them had traveled years ago, decades, 2 decades ago, 20 years ago, or 30 years ago. The same thing they explained about it. And then, so at the end of the day, the workshop was really, really grateful, was successful. And personally, I learned a lot from all of them, from the youth, from the women, and from the elders. And at the end of the day, we address them. So either they take it or not, but they know what is ahead of me before taking a decision. And at the end, there are people who doesn't want to go. They want to stay in the country, but they want to stay with something that would be a positive alternative. I hope, if funding process are going through, we would also have access to, create some positive alternatives for the youth in the future. Yeah.
I just want to chip in with the challenges that we faced during organizing or planning the workshop. And irregular migration is quite an uncomfortable topic here in the diaspora, everywhere. And to be able to create this space for migrants, the diaspora, to come and talk about their experiences, share their experiences in a space where they feel comfortable and not being judged and so on, was also one of the biggest challenges, because we, at the end, we provided these spaces, but prior to their information, they were not sort of convinced whether or not there are going to be authorities there looking around, whether or not they are irregular or they are regular here, and so on. And the next thing I would say is also the stereotype in back home when we talk about returnees and people who have who return from the diaspora or from abroad and going back home. They are also not comfortable sharing their experiences because of how they're going to be judged, how they're going to be discriminated upon, and how they are not able to even mingle. These are challenges, and I think that where sort of we created that room where all these doubts were cleared. I think you experience it yourself, but most importantly, this is what we create within the project, right? Creating the safe space where you can talk about your problems, and then we as the team would help you overcome these problems, by providing you with information, resources where you can, educate yourself, and then, you find solutions one way through yourself or even with us. That's why we are there as well.
Well, for me, I must say one of the biggest challenges which we try to address more and more, and hopefully next year even more, is, and you saw that also in the workshop, is to actually have active female participants. We've tried really hard, and we even have Nima there this year. Luckily, a feminist activist, and she knows a lot of people. But nevertheless, and everybody's, we had ideally, of course, we want at least 50-50 men, women participants, and most of the women, just before the event, didn't come. They cancelled and didn't show up. So we had, a very minimal female participation. And even though we, made it a specific topic, we had the topic of women and migration, which I think was very well received. Was, discussion was very lively, and I think needs to be continued. Was, we didn't have enough time to really tackle all the topics. So that's something, and we also do the podcast. So we wanted to definitely do a podcast on women in diaspora here who went through the irregular route and what their experiences were. Of course, not showing any images or names, like anonymous, And we had a couple of women who thought about it, but then all of them declined. And I think that's a story that still needs to get told, and so people know. I'm not the only one. It's happening to lots, and and then we can then also start to see what can we do about this. How can we change this?
From any research or survey, do you know what is holding them behind of not participating?
I'm not sure. I think it's fear, maybe, also of the unknown. But then it's also not me addressing them. It's Nima. So they know each other. She's Gambian. So I thought that would be the perfect perfect way. But I think
I also thought of this yesterday when I was writing. I was thinking, okay, about women. But at some point, I think we have less women migrating.
Well, officially, it's
in the target area so far, Gambia and Ghana, example.
Yeah, that I'm not sure about, but we're going to do some research on that next year as well.
It's interesting to make some
because in general, it's 50-50 women and men migrating. It's more and more women migrating. So I'm not sure how, but I could imagine in Gambia, because also women are very restricted in lots of ways. It is maybe less, but there are some.
It would be very interesting to conduct a research on this.
Yes,
find it out.
That's our aim for next year. If we get the funding, that's what we want to do, to make our very own research specifically to Ghana and Gambia, and not rely on other people's information.
Nice. So we have 2 more questions to go. Dear lovely listeners, you are still tuning on We Are Born Free Empowerment Radio, broadcasting to you on the frequency of 88.4 megahertz in Berlin, 90.7 megahertz in Potsdam. Those are our guests in the studio. Susanne, project manager, MMN, and then Benedictus, Ghanaian project manager, diaspora community manager in Berlin. Talking to us about MMN project, the implementations, the successes, the achievements, difficulties, challenges, and then plans ahead of the project. Let's see. The next question we have, since Nima is not here, would like to direct this to Benedictus. Talking about Ghana, you have earlier mentioned or talked about some of the things you have already implemented or been achieved. I would like to ask, what are some of the big changes and achievements MMN has provided so far for the youths in the country, as long as you are the community diaspora manager?
Yes, first of all, I would say that we've been able to reach a total amount of 76,000 people directly and indirectly on all our platforms. But reaching specifically to participants on the ground through our grassroots engagement, we've been able to reach up to 6,000 direct participants throughout the years, throughout 2017 to 2021, which is quite minimal, also based on the fact that we go into communities. But most importantly, we've had, I would say, 30% of the participants reversing their decisions to travel irregularly, based on the fact that they've had information or they've been able to attend some of the workshop outreaches, and they've had a change of mind based on the formations they've had. Moving forward, I would say that we've also we've managed to put together a group of students where we provide them with some sort of resources in terms of educational resources, how to apply for a job, how to fix your CV, and so on and so forth. And this was championed by Evans, who is a Ghanaian mentor. He also went to Ghana and he created a group. Within this group, he provides these services to these students. The platform has over 120 students who are engaged directly with him, and he provides this mentorship program, coaching and mentoring them as well. And in the north, right, I would say Rhoda, who is our coordinator for the northern region, she is doing more or less into women empowerment. So within the same settings of the outreaches and Stamptish, we came up with an idea that we empower women who come for these programs to soap making, basketry, weaving, and also weaving of the cloth, which is kente, we call it in Ghana. So these are some of the achievements that we've been able to attain within the project. I would say we are looking forward to having more success stories, but for now, I think this is also something that we can write home about, and we're looking forward to our partnership with Sparkase Shift to elevate more more locals or potential migrants onto the entrepreneurship level, and also giving them skills so they can acquire some sort of knowledge and training.
So in conclusion, the last question, what are the future plans for transformation and implementation for those African diasporas living here in Europe within this project? We talk about those there, but what of those living here? I mean, do you have any future plans, for transformation and implementation for these people living here, diasporas from Ghana so far?
I would say that what we've done over time is to try to engage the diaspora to come to our events, our meetups, where we share ideas and also share network in terms of job opportunities, in terms of legal advices and so on. We share all these resources that we have with them so they can take up these resources and make it to their their gainful benefits. And I would say that I was in talks with a colleague of mine yesterday, and he had this idea that he wanted to partnership with Migrant Media Network here in the diaspora to work on, which is more on focusing on the diaspora youth, which is giving them training, it could be NAC after school, and also providing them with some sort of services where they can come to them for coaching, where students who have not been able to successfully pass their exams can come back to do some extra classes on maths, science, geography, economics, and we are hoping forward to being able to implement this as well, because we think that in empowering the African community here, it's not just about giving them the information that they need, also giving them the sort of skill sets that they will require to succeed here, and also change the image and narrative of the blacks here. So yes, this is something that we is dear to my heart personally, and on this platform I would say yes, and on this platform I would say that Migrant Media Network through Rogue Agency would embrace it, and then we would in turn engage the community to embrace this initiative as well, so that most of our diaspora mothers who cannot speak, or parents who cannot help their kids at home, this will be an opportunity for them to have someone who can professionally guide them and coach them to a better success, so they can attain their students' goals and also their life goals. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Suzanne, you as a project manager who is responsible of this finance management and budgets and so on.
Oh, yeah, that's not the fun part.
What are the big plans laid for 2022?
Yeah. So 2022 is a difficult year because of the elections that just happened in Germany. I mean, we have a government now, but they're always saying, oh, we don't know yet, and maybe things are going to change. So we don't know. We try to ignore that and apply it anyways, or will apply anyways. And one of the changes is we're going to try to do everything that we did before, but we really want to emphasize music and migration. We've done that before with Defy Now, where we had like a music project called Kifaya, which is enough. So musicians got together, and we want to do the same in Ghana and Gambia. So because we can reach a lot of people through music. It's a great vehicle. People love to listen to music. It's
I will
also
be front line for that.
Yes, absolutely. No, I think it's super important. So that's really that's one of the and if we can also spoken words and arts, but it's always a funding issue, because of course we want to continue with the mentors and also with the local coordinators. So I think that's one of the biggest changes. We're not going to expand to any other country. We cannot do that. But music and migration, I think, is going to be it.
Thank you so much, Susanne Bellinghausen, MMN Project Manager, Germany, and Benedictus Agbelon, MMN Community Manager, Ghanaian Diaspora, Germany, for talking to We Are Born Free Empowerment Radio here at our studio, our very lovely studio, Waldemar Straße.
Yes, very nice.
Number 46, Kreuzberg, in the heart of Berlin. On 88.4 megahertz in Berlin, 90.7 in Potsdam. Also live and direct streaming to you on our Facebook channels, which is MMN Facebook channel, and We Are Born Free Humanity Matters. In case you missed this time, you can always have it, you can always find it, and you can always listen to these very important inputs that were spoken here. Before conclusion, I would like to involve my colleague. I don't know if you would like to
Be
put
involved.
anything in it, if you want to just in case, I mean, not to offend you, to conclude the show without bringing you in.
Thank you very much. Yeah, this is a great platform, MMN, and I got to know it through you right now. And I think it's a great opportunity, most especially for the dishonored people, and it's a great idea that she also is having to look back where we come from, because most especially our calls to Europe or to migrate is always ignored. So this is a very important issue that you are tackling in. But also I would love if you could also tackle on the issue of the not issue, but also the hand of the European Union it is having on this migration issue, because it is not only about us that we are forcing ourselves to migrate.
Yeah.
There is a
Yeah.
force ahead of us
Yeah.
which is saying, come here, come here. You see, we are great. You see, you know, you don't have good markets, you don't have good leadership. Here we have, you know, we respect everything, and we come here and people get disappointed.
Yeah.
You know, so I would love to tack on this. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not the first one saying that, and I think that'd be great. I think it's a whole other project. I mean, the other day somebody said to me, your project seems like you're saying that the migrants are the one, that it's their fault or their problem. It's not, of course not. Yeah, as you say, it's the regulations and it's the governments. But that would be a whole other project, and I think that's definitely something that also needs to be talked about and tackled. And either we expend or we would have to have another project. But definitely, the problems are not the migrants.
Thank you so much, colleague Bino, for your contribution. And here bring us to the end of this program, which is MMN, talking to We Are Born Free Empowerment Radio. And to recap, I would like to summarize MMN project to those who missed the first introduction of MMN. Migrant Media Network provides young Africans with reliable information and training on migration issues and social media to make informed decisions and be aware of safer migration options to Europe. MMN Media Migrant Network promotes youth entrepreneurship at home as a way to build economic and social resilience, encouraging youth to create their own opportunities and work within their communities. Members of the Ghanaian and the Gambian diaspora in Berlin are trained and involved in the development of online and offline materials to conduct workshops for young girls and boys in rural regions of Ghana and the Gambia around questions of migration, human smuggling, the ethical use of social media, and youth entrepreneurship, aiming to create a sustainable and growing network of trainers in rural areas. Community influencers and are engaged to amplify the training, and offline materials are distributed to community leaders in strategic points, such as schools and churches. The MMN Media Migrant Network project was created and initiated by Thomas Kalunge in 2019. The project was successfully implemented by ROG, Agency for Open Culture and Critical Transformation in Ghana and Germany in 2019-2020. In 2021, the project was extended to the Gambia. So those were the project managers. I mean, the project manager Susie and the community manager which is Benedict, who are talking to us, sharing their roles and the whole, in and out of the project to us and the future implementations and plans of the project. I thank you all for being with us here at We Are Born Free Empowerment Radio and for talking to us, and of course to get off from your house to walk on this cold to be in the studio here. It's bloody cold in Berlin. So on that note, I would just say thank you all for coming. I wish you all a nice time, and please, dear lovely listeners, this would be coming in as we in the project. As far as I am also part of the project, we'll be having different talks with different people, being artists or being local coordinators or being.
One brief thing, maybe before we stop, finish this up. I mean, I think you find a lot of information on our website, migrantmedia.network. You can also contact us anytime. I mean, we try to build up a network, also diaspora network. So whoever is interested, who's into music, into migration, wants to do, has a topic they want to talk about. I mean, if Corona allows us, we do want to make these meetups where we talk with, about important things with the diaspora. Then, contact us, send us a mail.
Perfect. So whoever wants to create something or do something about migrants or whatever, please, you can always go to MMN, Media Migrant Network website. You will find contact persons, numbers or emails to contact and share your opinion or your project plan or whatever you want to implement. Together with us, we're going to make it. So thank you, Susie, for giving us that opportunity, and thank you, my colleague Bino, for taking us. Bye-bye, have a nice time, have a nice weekend, enjoy. Bye.
Bye-bye.